Maria was a devoted mother of 3, a loving wife, and a dutiful daughter. Her life revolved around her children and her family. She loved her husband and sons dearly, and they meant the world to her. Her life took a turn when she met Pastor Gideon, a charismatic preacher who promised salvation and miracles. Maria's devotion to Pastor Gideon grew, and she began to see him as a divine figure. Pastor Gideon started giving Maria personal directives, which she followed without question. One fateful day, Pastor Gideon told Maria that her children were possessed by evil spirits and needed to be purified. Coming from a pastor and blinded by her faith, Maria suffocated her children in their sleep, believing she was saving their souls. Pastor Gideon praised Maria for her sacrifice, reinforcing her belief that she had done the right thing. While still mourning her children, Pastor Gideon convinced Maria that her husband was a hindrance to her spiritual journey and that she needed to take an action. If not, her faith would be in jeopardy. Maria took the advice and poisoned her beloved husband. He died a painful death, unaware of the betrayal by the woman he loved. Few days after the death of her husband and children, Maria fell ill, but refused to visit the hospital. Her neighbors and friends tried convincing her that she might die if she doesn't visit the hospital, but she refused, trusting only in the concoctions given by Pastor Gideon. She believed in him only and no one else. The pastor took control over her to the extent that he declared Maria's mother a witch, the source of all their misfortunes. Maria, who is now completely brainwashed, agreed to sacrifice her mother in a gruesome ritual, believing she was eradicating evil. Things got worse for Maria with each sacrifice she made. One fateful evening, he had a meeting with Maria, where he asked for Maria's womb, claiming it was necessary for a holy purpose. The demand shook Maria to her core, snapping her out of her blind devotion and slumber. "My womb?" she asked with shock and fear in her voice. Realizing how dumb and blind she had been, Maria confronted Pastor Gideon, realizing the monstrous reality of his manipulations. The weight of her actions crushed Maria. Oh, she has done the irreversible. How can she turn back the hands of time? The spirits of her children and husband began to haunt Maria, never forgiving her for her deeds. She sat alone in sadness and tears. She lost faith in everything she once believed in, including the church that led her astray. The community and friends turned against her, shunning her for her heinous actions. Maria was all alone now. Her mind began to unravel as she was tormented by visions of her past. At this point, she was desperate for redemption. Maria visited the graveyard to sought forgiveness from the spirits of her loved ones, but the spirits of her children and husband were unforgiving, leaving Maria in despair. Maria lost her once happy home, her possessions, her sanity. She was left to wander the streets with everyone ignoring her. Few months later, Maria fell sick, died alone, a broken woman. Her life a cautionary tale of blind faith and manipulation.